Hey everyone, welcome back. Let's do some more breakdown videos. So today we're gonna do Manon, and if you guys are late to this, we've been covering every single character for like the third time here. This is based off the new developer footage that Capcom officially has posted, and we get to see some high-level play because it's like the internal testers playing, showing off some cool things. So Manon, we get some extra information from this footage. So let's get started. We're gonna go through this in the order of the match. So right at the beginning here, we see Manon do a whiff punish with one of her target combos. Now, if you guys have been following before, we know that Manon's target combos has this unique trait of vacuuming the opponent into her and putting them right into throw range. It's really scary. So this makes her neutral pretty damn strong.
Right, this is a feature that is very useful on a character like a grappler because we know that this target combo is at a frame advantage, which means that it's probably very difficult for the opponent to press buttons that interrupt and attempt at a command throw, which means it's probably very close to a real 50-50. Although in Street Fighter 6, with all the options that you have on defense, there might be other ways out of this.
So I just want to quickly explain Manon's game plan here for anyone who's missed out. She has medal levels, and in order to raise these medal levels, she has to land one of her command grabs or special grabs, and she has two of them. One of them is unblockable, and the other one is a hit grab, so you can combo into it.
Right, and as the medal level goes up, these throws have different effects. And as far as we can tell so far, it seems just that the damage goes up, but there might be something else behind the scenes that we're not aware of. That the startup gets faster or it gets thrown vulnerability at some point. We're not sure.
Now in this situation, after Manon lands this target combo, she goes for a regular grab, and this is kind of like your safe option select that grapplers use, because if Marisa anticipated the unblockable and she jumps straight up, then Manon will recover in time to punish her, for example. So she's just starting off the round with something safe. I just wanted to point that out. We recently got new footage from a new commentator coming to Street Fighter 6. And we can see in that footage, even though it's showing off Jerry, it shows Manon whiffing a few of her command grabs, the unblockable version. And you can see how much like recovery there is. So that's another reason why you might want to go for a normal throw, just to kind of test the waters with your opponent and see how they react.
In Street Fighter 6 compared to Street Fighter 5, throws have a little bit more recovery. So it's possible that some of the option selects that were available in the previous game might not be as effective in Street Fighter 6, especially if maybe your anti-air option is not invulnerable, if they neutral jump, or if they backdash, they might be able to even punish you if they're fast enough.
So the next thing we see is Manon's crouching heavy kick. What the heck is up with this normal? The range is insane on this thing.
Basically a slide. I mean, double hitting slide. That's the best way of describing it.
It's like a guy will sweep on crack. Like, it's just ridiculous. Well, obviously it does two hits. So if you block the first hit, Manon's getting punished. I hope this thing has an extended hurt box. But seriously, I like, look at this range mirror. It's so far away.
I would imagine that just like a slide, it would have to be unsafe because Street Fighter 6 actually has some relatively safe sweeps, especially if you compare it with Street Fighter 5, right? So I would hope that this is really minus and she would just get blown up for doing it on block,
You think the first hit's cancelable?
I don't think so. And even if it was, it wouldn't be on block.
Yeah, like Colleen. All right, so spoilers, Manon gets absolutely slaughtered by Marisa, and then let's move on to the next round. She lands the target combo again, but this time, since she has no medal level, she goes for a risk. She goes for the unblockable command grab, and she lands it this time, so I just want to point that out. Another thing too, Mir, even though you can find this out from the footage, the commentators did add that her max medal level is in fact 5.
And apparently every medal level changes the animation of her grabs, both of them, and I assume the overdrive version as well. We've seen a good variety of animations so far. I'm not sure if we quite saw all of them.
Now, another quick thing I want to point out here, Mira, is that we see Manon do a drive rush, but it looks like she's baiting Marisa to do a button because she cancels the drive rush as soon as she can by walking backwards. But the distance that she moves is very, very short. Like, it doesn't seem like her drive rush goes that far.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. After all, she is a grappler and she is a character that wants to be up close. So,
yeah.
And we see that often when she does use the drive rush, she uses a move that also doesn't seem to have a lot of range. So maybe all of this is intentional.
Right. I want to add that it's not just grapplers that seem to have short range. Like Jamie, for example, his drive rush, he barely goes that far as well. Like, he can stop it right away.
Even some characters that have some decent mobility otherwise wise don't necessarily move that far. Chun-Li is a great example, as her
Hmm.
movement speed is quite good, but her drive rush is not very far,
Right.
especially if you compare it with characters like Juri or Ken, who move
Yeah.
way further.
We're gonna have to see what Zangief is like.
Yeah.
Okay, we see a big combo here. We see Manon jump in with a jumping heavy kick, and then looks like a command normal, a heavy. We're just gonna say back heavy punch for now as a placeholder. And then she cancels that into a drive rush, into crouching medium punch, another back heavy punch, and then she cancels it into her hit command grab. So once again, this is another way for her to get her metal level up and not have to worry about guessing right and the opponent jumping out, because you simply just combo into it.
It doesn't seem that Manon is too close for to continue pressure on the knockdown. We see multiple times in the footage that the player playing Manon likes to go for a drive rush after, which might be the only way of getting pressure. It's important to mention that both throws give hard knockdowns, so it's impossible for the opponent to back rise.
Yeah, both her command grabs don't seem to give Oki. She even like twirls backwards. It forces her to go away from the opponent. So that's a big change, especially for like a lot of how grapplers work. You know, a lot of them have kind of vortex situations, but it looks like they want you to spend meter and use drive rush, like you were saying. Because yeah, we see him use that a lot to get Oki. So it's like you get Oki, but you have to spend extra meter to get it.
I mean, in general, Street Fighter 6 seems to be a little bit more neutral based, as we've discussed many times in the past. Manon doesn't seem to struggle too much in neutral when it comes to range on her normals, as we talked about before. The crouching heavy kick goes really, really far.
Oh yeah.
And she has some long range normals like that standing heavy kick. So she probably can hold her own in neutral pretty decently. Might struggle against zoners, but still, not having Oki on your command throws might not be the worst thing ever.
Plus, you know, you get metal levels every time, so she would get out of control like crazy if she was a vortex character. You know, it'd be lights
Yeah,
out
yeah,
in a
absolutely.
second. Her defensive options look pretty good too, because afterwards we see that OD crescent kick, and it clearly looks like an anti-air special. And since she used the OD version, she canceled it into her level 2.
Right, I'm curious if this is going to be Manon's reversal. It definitely looks like it would be a good candidate for it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. They gave her like a reversal you can use on the ground, and it's like fully invincible to attacks. That'd be pretty nuts. And another thing too is that even though Manon canceled this into the level 2, the level 2 by itself looks like an anti-air as well.
Yeah, I guess it depends as to whether or not the level 2 is going to have any invulnerability or you know, a lot of invulnerability rather, because if it is just very brief, you might still get hit before the move becomes active.
Yeah, and since it's a level 2 super, you know, they usually have utility. And in Manon's case, you know, having a really powerful defensive option looks like an easy confirm from an anti-air would be really deadly and make people scared to jump on her. All right, here comes the first head scratch here. So the next round, we see Manon do her OD hit grab, the Manège Doré. But at the beginning, you clearly see her do like a feint and dodge right through Marisa's attack and then grab her afterwards. Now, before Mir in our footage, when those dynamic control players were playing, we saw Manon actually do this feint several times. We pointed out, hey, this is a different thing. So we're kind of seeing it here, and I'm not quite sure what this is about because, you know, she's flashing yellow at the very beginning. So it's part of her Manège Doré, the command grab.
All right, so there's two possibilities. One of them is that this twirl, this dodge, is basically like a stance, a move that you input and then you input follow-ups afterwards. So, for example, it could be that if you press punch, you get the hit throw. If you press kick, you're going to get another follow-up, which we're going to see later. And if you don't press anything, you just do the twirl. The other possibility is that this is a version of the special move. So, for example, if you do the light version, you only do the feint, the twirl. If you do the medium version, you do a different follow-up. If you do the heavy version, you do the hit throw. Unfortunately, we don't know what it is.
I think I'm with you on the second theory. I think this is tied to the strength, and the OD version just so happens to be the feint and the grab at the same time. But either way, though, she has the ability to dodge normals into her hit grab. At the end of the day, that's what it means, right? And that's very strong. Now, right after Manon lands the hit grab, she goes for a drive rush, so she gets Oki from this, and then goes for the unblockable command grab right after. Marisa tries to wake up DI, by the way, as well, and loses because, you know, it's a grab.
And we can see now that since Manon's a level 4, the damage is already quite high.
Yeah, this is insane. Like, just this one command grab does so much damage, like more than a super, already at level 4. So at level 5, like, you know, you're reaching like touch of death area, but you can see how rewarding it is when you get those metal levels up. Alright, so afterwards we see a pretty fancy combo here. Manon lands a drive impact, but she goes drive rush raw from here, and I'm assuming this is so she can get the juggle state. So she goes into the back heavy punch, into, it looks like the feint, if you slow it down, into this kick follow-up, and then juggles with the back heavy punch into the hit grab. So this is where, once again, it's a little confusing because we're seeing this feint and we're seeing this new kick follow-up, and it belongs to both of your theories, Mir, where one, it could be a move by itself and you press kick afterwards. Or two, like maybe her command grab might be the medium version is the kick, which would be strange.
Right, this is kind of like how we got to this point in the first place, because if it weren't for the fact that we had seen this kick follow-up, we might have just like thought something else. Maybe you held down the buttons or whatever. But you can clearly see that this spin has multiple follow-ups regardless of how you input them. They seem pretty important for combos like we see here. The juggle potential seems quite high. The entire normal and special after that kick connects properly, and Manon gets pretty big damage.
It's also really useful that Manon has a hit grab because she's able to juggle and combo into it as well if she happens to knock the opponent up. So no matter what, she has like these options in her combos to get the metal level up.
This is very reminiscent of Ibuki's Raida, where she can use it in juggles and complete combos that way. The hit throw still gives a hard knockdown, which is relatively rare in Street Fighter 6. So like preventing your opponent from back rising can give you the opportunity to continue, at least to threaten mid-screen, even if it's not real Oki, at least you're in range of your normals.
I'm kind of disappointed though. I thought she would get better Oki after reaching max level 5 on her metal, but she still whirls away from the opponent. You still gotta use that drive rush.
I mean, to be fair, it just kills you pretty much. The damage is so high. And this is a scaled combo because DI scales the combo, and she does drive rush at the beginning too, which is extra scaling. So
I know. That's true. That's a good point. And we also saw from the most recent footage, the commentary trailer, Manon lands, it looks like her level 5 metal level OD unblockable command grab, and she like raises the opponent right in the air. It's a really cool looking animation. It looks sick, and it probably does like an insane amount of damage.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, considering that we saw the level 4, how much damage it did.
So unfortunately, Marisa proceeds to destroy Manon after that. So we didn't get to see too much because of the Marisa player, but what we gathered from all this up to this point is Manon has some pretty strong neutral. That standing heavy kick, the sweep, her target combos on whiff punishing are really strong because they vacuum you in. She has some pretty decent combos, extensions, that's pretty easy for her to get into her hit grab, and she even has really good anti-air options and a possible reversal as well.
Yeah, even if that crescent kick is not her actual reversal, the fact that she has that at least strike invulnerability on the hit throw, right? Like that twirl, that might be another option that she could use on defense to try and get through a barrage of normals and reverse the situation in her favor. And again, if it does connect, it does also build the metal level. So it would be very rewarding to actually land that. And this is on top of all the defensive mechanics that Street Fighter 6 has to offer. So obviously we need to keep that in mind as well. For example, even if you end up pairing drive impact, you can use that frame advantage to threaten a command throw and again build metal level and be scary that way. But just being a grappler in a game like Street Fighter 6 is already a really good deal.
It's going to be really interesting to see how grapplers fully play once we see it, at the highest level. But if you're someone who's really good at reading your opponent and, still have some good buttons to press in neutral if you can't get close, I think Manon's going to be a really strong character. I can't wait to see how she plays. She looks really fun. So let's wrap this up, guys. Let us know what you think about Manon so far and everything there is to see. And we'll continue to cover Street Fighter 6. We got Capcom Cup coming up right away here, so expect some more character reveals, and we'll continue to do more breakdowns.
Thanks. Hope you're not doing anything for Valentine's.
We'll get the third beta test for Valentine's Day. All right, guys. Take care. Peace.
Bye-bye.